All right.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 37 of Coffee and Christ.
It's Wednesday. Isn't it?
Yeah, it's Wednesday all day.
Okay, so there was a second census yesterday. Pretty much that's what we did. Second census because we wanted everybody to receive the right allotment of land. And the inheritance needed to be set forward before they got to the land of Canaan. He being God. So, and we also learned that Moses would be dying soon. The Lord told him that. And that hurts my heart because, well, I mean, I'm happy for him because the man needs a break. He needs to go to heaven and take a break, but still. So, okay. So we are in 28, 29, 30, I think, today. Yes.
Numbers 28, 29, and 30.
Ready?
Send it.
Numbers 28. The Lord said to Moses, "Give this command to the Israelites and say to them, make sure that you present to me at the appointed time my food offerings as an aroma pleasing to me. Say to them, this is the food offering you are to present to the Lord, 2 lambs a year old without defect, as a regular burnt offering each day. Offer 1 lamb in the morning and the other at twilight, together with the grain offering of 1/10 of an ephah of the finest flour, mixed with 1/4 of a hin of oil from pressed olives. This is the regular burnt offering instituted at Mount Sinai as a pleasing aroma, a food offering presented to the Lord. The accompanying drink offering is to be 1/4 of a hin of fermented drink with each lamb. Pour out the drink offering to the Lord at the sanctuary. Offer the second lamb at twilight, along with the same kind of grain offering and drink offering that you offer in the morning. This is a food offering, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. On the Sabbath day, make an offering of 2 lambs, a year old without defect, together with its drink offering and a grain offering of 2/10 of an ephah of the finest flour mixed with olive oil. This is the burnt offering for every Sabbath, in addition to the regular burnt offering and its drink offering. On the first of every month, present to the Lord a burnt offering of 2 young bulls, 1 ram, and 7 male lambs a year old, all without defect. With each bull there is to be a grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah of the finest flour mixed with oil. With the ram, a grain offering of 2/10 of an ephah of the finest flour mixed with oil. And with each lamb, a grain offering of 1/10 of an ephah of the finest flour mixed with oil. This is for a burnt offering, a pleasing aroma, a food offering presented to the Lord. With each bull there is to be a drink offering of 1/2 hin of wine. With the ram, 1/3 of a hin, and with each lamb, 1/4 of a hin. This is the monthly burnt offering to be made at each new moon during the year. Besides the regular burnt offering with its drink offering, 1 male goat is to be presented to the Lord as a sin offering. On the 14th day of the first month, the Lord's Passover is to be held. On the 15th day of this month, there is to be a festival. For 7 days, eat bread made without yeast. On the first day, hold a sacred assembly and do no regular work. Present to the Lord a food offering consisting of a burnt offering of 2 young bulls, 1 ram, and 7 male lambs a year old, all without defect. With each bull, offer a grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah of the finest flour mixed with oil. With the ram, 2/10, and with each of the 7 lambs, 1/10. Include 1 male goat as a sin offering to make atonement for you. Offer these in addition to the regular morning burnt offering. In this way, present the food offering every day for 7 days as an aroma pleasing to the Lord. It is to be offered in addition to the regular burnt offering and its drink offering. On the 7th day, hold a sacred assembly and do no regular work. On the day of first fruits, when you present to the Lord an offering of new grain during the festival of weeks, hold a sacred assembly and do no regular work. Present a burnt offering of 2 young bulls, 1 ram, and 7 male lambs a year old as an aroma pleasing to the Lord. With each bull there is to be a grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah of the finest flour mixed with oil, with the ram 2/10, and with each of the 7 lambs 1/10. Include one male goat to make atonement for you. Offer these together with their drink offerings, in addition to the regular burnt offering and its grain offering. Be sure the animals are without defect. Number.
Oh. Ooh, I'm sorry. Freaking allergies are kicking my butt. Even heavily medicated. Got snot pouring up my nose and everything. Have you ever seen a Lone Star State of Mind?
Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite movies. Are you drinking today? Well, it ends in wide, don't it? You don't remember that one? It's been years since I've seen that movie. I can't believe you've seen that movie.
I used to watch it all the time. I used to own it.
I just assumed you were too young for that. So, you know what comes to mind?
Did you watch it on 8mm film?
It was the VHS. Anyway, it didn't come out. It was on CD. Quit that right now. Okay, so we went through the second census, and now we have the second generation, basically, of the Israelites, and I believe that's probably why we're going through all this, to prepare to make sure everybody knows what they're to do. But at the same time, all these offerings, although every time they make an offering to the Lord, no matter if it's the Sabbath or if it's a festival, at the same time, I keep reminding myself every time this happens, the priests, the Levites are being taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the priests are eating, they get a certain portion of the offering. So I always think, oh, he's making sure not only is it just an offering to him, but it's also to take care of the priests. It always stays in the back of my mind because, you know, the Lord was the gift to them, so they didn't get land and everything. So
yeah, they didn't have an inheritance.
But I was curious. Give this command to the Israelites and say to them. Okay, so it's the Lord said to Moses to give this command to the Israelites. And I don't think that delivery was changed. And then he said, in the festival of weeks, include one male goat to make atonement for you. Who was you?
He's talking to Moses.
No, yes, but we know Moses is going to die soon, but he said to Moses, say this to the Israelites. So he would be saying to them, include one male goat to make atonement for you. I don't know if that's singular as you or you being the Israelites. You know what I mean? You gonna be okay? Allergies getting you?
Man.
Yeah, I know. They're playing.
I don't know why it's
Heck
so
on me
bad.
too.
Because usually when I take the medicine, I don't have allergies at all.
Well,
And I'm like doubling up, and it's a 24-hour pill.
well, when you get old, these things change.
Golly. I'm on struggle bus.
As my dad would say, don't worry, it'll get worse.
All right. Do you have anything you... No? Okay. Just as their offerings were brought regularly, so our fellowship with God should be a regular occurrence. It says it should be a continual reality for believers. God desires more than God desires more than ritual in our worship. He invites us to have a day-by-day relationship with Him. Only through continual fellowship with God, could God's people expect to have victory as they entered the promised land. This is probably the reason for repeating the instructions for the burnt offering. I was Let me read that again because I think that answers your question. Only through continual fellowship with God could God's people expect to have victory as they enter the promised land. This is probably the reason for repeating the instructions for the burnt offering. Here, it was a reaffirmation of its significance for the new generation. By bringing the offering, a person was committing his or her life to God in a fresh way. In a similar way, the Apostle Paul called us to present our bodies as living sacrifices to God. This is an essential step for our spiritual growth. It says, as we place our lives in God's hands, He will change us through His power.
You know, this continual offering is not because God needs these things. I think it's to keep the connection, which also goes back to if you don't stay in the Word or stay in that practice or continue, like go to church, if you don't keep it going, you know, God knows, He's seen, we stray.
I'll tell you, along those lines, if we're talking about if you don't keep it going, like if you put it off once, it'll be easier to put it off a second time, and
I mean,
easier
it happens,
to put it off a third time.
But I mean,
and then once you put it off continually times, and this is, you know, this is how it goes with Bible study. You know, if you're like, well, let's just do it tomorrow. You know, you'll put it off once, you'll put it off again. I mean, we've got into that. You know, there's things. You know, we've gone once or twice, almost a week.
yeah, I think our longest is like 4 days
without even doing a Bible study. You know, because everything just got in the way. So, you know, when you commit yourself to God, it's a daily deal. It's a daily prayer. And I'm not that good at praying. I'll have to admit, I'm not good at praying about everything before I do it. I need to be a whole lot better. But you know, I just trust as I walk through life that, you know, it'll be taken care of. I'm not the best prayer. I make my bones about it, but you know, before I do stuff, and you know, there's people that'll pray before they get in their vehicle and pray before they walk in the store. I mean, everything they do, they'll pray about it. But I'm getting off the topic here. But anyhow, I'm doing good to say my prayers at night. You know,
I've
or
started.
in the morning.
I've tried to make a difference to add a prayer in the morning. I had a devotional, and I kind of replaced our Bible study with that because I was so focused on doing that. But I'm trying to get back to where I'm doing both in the morning.
Well, I tell you what I am good about praying about. Is there's time when I'm about to get wrapped around the axle on somebody, and Lord, please.
You mean like the time you left Jesus in the truck when we got hit by that guy?
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't pray that day. I was praying. I was so mad I had to pray before I could talk. He just left Jesus in the truck. Isn't that what you said?
Our horse trailer got hit with a horse in it, and ooh boy, I left Jesus in the truck when I got out and talked to that old boy. And I was not being Christian-like at all.
And then you said it right.
But I did set it right.
Before it was over, everything was good. So everything was good.
Shook the man's hand, and anyhow. All right. What's next? 20. What are we on?
29.
29.
Numbers 29. On the first day of the 7th month, hold a sacred assembly and do...
Hold on. I'm sorry. I needed to read this. Personal possessive pronouns in these verses emphasize God's ownership of all that is offered to Him. All the silver and gold, all the beasts and cattle belong to God. Believers return our offer them to Him. So we return it as an offering it back to Him. So I wanted to, because that's why we were reading it. It was good. All right, here we go.
Did she keep
The
it
regular
going?
work. It is a day for you to sound the trumpets. As an aroma pleasing to the Lord, offer a burnt offering of 1 young bull, 1 ram, and 7 male lambs a year old, all without defect. With the bull, offer offer a grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah of the finest flour mixed with olive oil, with the ram 2/10, and with each of the 7 lambs 1/10. Include 1 male goat as a sin offering to make atonement for you. These are in addition to the monthly and daily burnt offerings with their grain offerings and drink offerings as specified. They are food offerings presented to the Lord, a pleasing aroma. On the 10th day of this 7th month, hold a sacred assembly. You must deny yourselves and do no work. Present as an aroma pleasing to the Lord a burnt offering of 1 young bull, 1 ram, and 7 male lambs a year old, all without defect. With the bull, offer a grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah of the finest flour mixed with oil, with the ram 2/10, and with each of the 7 lambs 1/10. Include 1 male goat as a sin offering in addition to the sin offering for atonement and the regular burnt offering with its grain offering and their drink offerings. On the 15th day of the 7th month, hold a sacred assembly and do no regular work. Celebrate a festival to the Lord for 7 days. Present as an aroma pleasing to the Lord a food offering, consisting of a burnt offering of 13 young bulls, 2 rams, and 14 male lambs a year old, all without defect. With each of the 13 bulls, offer a grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah of the finest flour mixed with oil, with each of the 2 rams 2/10, and with each of the 14 lambs 1/10. Include 1 male goat as a sin offering, in addition to the regular burnt offering with its grain offering and drink offering. On the 2nd day, offer 12 young bulls, 2 rams, and 14 male lambs a year old, all without defect. With the bulls, rams, and lambs, offer their grain offerings and drink offerings, according to the number specified. Include 1 male goat as a sin offering, in addition to the regular burnt offering with its grain offering and their drink offerings. On the 3rd day, offer 11 bulls, 2 rams, and 14 male lambs a year old, all without defect. With the bulls, rams, and lambs, offer their grain offerings and drink offerings according to the number specified. Include 1 male goat as a sin offering, in addition to the regular burnt offering with its grain offering and drink offering. On the 4th day, offer 10 bulls, 2 rams, and 14 male lambs a year old, all without defect. With the bulls, rams, and lambs, offer their grain offerings and drink offerings according to the number specified. Include 1 male goat as a sin offering, in addition to the regular burnt offering with its grain offering and drink offering. On the 5th day, offer 9 bulls, 2 rams, and 14 male lambs a year old, all without defect. With the bulls, rams, and lambs, offer their grain offerings and drink offerings according to the number specified. Include 1 male goat as a sin offering, in addition to the regular burnt offering with its grain offering and drink offering. On the 6th day, offer 8 bulls, 2 rams, and 14 male lambs a year old, all without defect. With the bulls, rams, and lambs, offer their grain offerings and drink offerings according to the number specified. Include 1 male goat as a sin offering, in addition to the regular burnt offering with its grain offering and drink offering. On the 7th day, offer 7 bulls, 2 rams, and 14 male lambs a year old, all without defect. With the bulls, rams, and lambs, offer their grain offerings and drink offerings according to the number specified. Include 1 male goat as a sin offering, in addition to the regular burnt offering with its grain offering and drink offering. On the 8th day, hold a closing special assembly and do no regular work. Present as an aroma pleasing to the Lord a food offering consisting of a burnt offering of 1 bull, 1 ram, and 7 male lambs a year old, all without defect. With the bull, the ram, and the lambs, offer their grain offerings and drink offerings according to the number specified. Include 1 male goat as a sin offering, in addition to the regular burnt offering with its grain offering and drink offering. In addition to what you vow and your free will offerings, offer these to the Lord at your appointed festivals: your burnt offerings, grain offerings, drink offerings, and fellowship offerings. Moses told the Israelites all that the Lord
Commanded him.
That's a lot of animals.
I was gonna say, man, that's a lot of. Yeah.
That's like a full grown stockyard of animals.
So glad we don't do this anymore. I mean, I know they all belong to the Lord, but still.
And that's
Do you have
Yeah.
anything for 29?
I don't think so.
I have the Day of Atonement is the most sacred of all Hebrew religion rites. It was accompanied by denying themselves. God's moral law was capable of revealing sin and bringing condemnation and accusation, but the law was incomplete in that it was not capable of offering relief or salvation. Hence, the Israelites needed a system of sacrifice, the sin offering for atonement. The offerings of the Lord Christ is the completed sacrifice offered once and for all. Okay. Ready?
30.
One more time.
Numbers 30. Moses said to the heads of the tribes of Israel, "This is what the Lord commands. When a man makes a vow to the Lord or takes an oath to obligate himself by a pledge, he must not break his word, but must do everything he said. When a young woman still living in her father's household makes a vow to the Lord or obligates herself by a pledge, and her father hears about her vow or pledge but says nothing to her, then all her vows and every pledge by which she obligated herself will stand. But if her father forbids her when he hears about it, none of her vows or the pledges by which she obligated herself will stand. The Lord will release her because her father has forbidden her. If she marries after she makes a vow, or after her lips utter a rash promise by which she obligates herself, and her husband hears about it but says nothing to her, then her vows or the pledges by which she obligated herself will stand. But if her husband forbids her when he hears about it, he nullifies the vow that obligates her or the rash promise by which she obligates herself, and the Lord will release her. Any vow or obligation taken by a widow or divorced woman will be binding on her. If a woman living with her husband makes a vow or obligates herself by a pledge under oath, and her husband hears about it but says nothing to her and does not forbid her, then all her vows or the pledges by which she obligated herself will stand. But if her husband nullifies them when he hears about them, then none of the vows or pledges that came from her lips will stand. Her husband has nullified them, and the Lord will release her. Her husband may confirm or nullify any vow she makes or any sworn pledge to deny herself. But if her husband says nothing to her about it from day to day, then he confirms all her vows or the pledges binding on her. He confirms them by saying nothing to her when he hears about them. If, however, he nullifies them sometime after he hears about them, then he must bear the consequences of her wrongdoing. These are the regulations the Lord gave Moses concerning relationships between a man and his wife, and between a father and his young daughter still living at home.
I'm not sure I understood that one right.
Is that marriage vows? But
I don't know.
But it says a husband and wife. Like what else would she
No.
be vowing?
I don't know. I have a lot of questions about that. What do you have for that one?
I don't have nothing to read on it.
I have, when either a vow of performance or abstinence was made to deny herself, a woman's motive was spiritual worship and involved humbling herself before the Lord. Hannah's vow is representative, for she asked the Lord. Hannah, it's got to come around, hold on. Hannah's vow is representative, for she asked the Lord, look on your servant's misery, repeating her servant twice in her vow. It is also possible that the phrase is a way of indicating those cases in which a husband or father negated a vow because of its potential harm to the woman involved. You'll have to do that.
I'm Tara Lee Cobble, and I'm your host for the Bible Recap. Yesterday, we updated our census to count the number of current Israelites about to enter the Promised Land, and we got a new law allotting land to women. I hope that those of you who feel like Scripture doesn't hold women in high regard are starting to see God's heart toward women a little bit more. Today, we covered a passage that might have made you bristle a bit, but we're going to talk about that, and I hope it will help to smooth over any rough patches. But before we get there, we have 2 chapters of laws and feasts. There were a lot of things that stood out to me in this section. First, in 28:3-4, I noticed that each of Israel's days are bookended with worship. They offer a sacrifice at twilight and in the morning. And here's something interesting that isn't necessarily clear in this passage, but it shows up elsewhere in Scripture as well as in any Jewish literature and culture. The Jewish day starts at sunset. That's why in Genesis 1, the flow of the passage says, there was evening and there was morning the first day. There was evening and there was morning the second day. And so on. This is going to be important as we continue getting to know this family, seeing how they live and how things play out even with Jesus and his life. One of the practical ways this comes into play is with the Sabbath, which is when they're not supposed to work. As we've talked about before, the word Sabbath is the Hebrew word for our English word Saturday. Our Saturday technically starts at midnight, even though it's not morning yet, and their Saturday, or Sabbath, technically starts at sundown on Friday, which will vary based on what time zone you're in and what season you're in. For the Israelites we're in the desert with, it would be around 8 p.m. at the latest and around 4:30 p.m. at the earliest, depending on the time of year. So for instance, in winter when the sun sets at 4:30 p.m. on a Friday, that's when their Sabbath day of rest, their Saturday, would start. And it would continue through the night, on till the morning, through the day, and end at 4:30 p.m. the next day, when their Sunday would begin. If you ever happen to be in Jerusalem right before the Sabbath starts, around 2 p.m. on a Friday, you'll see people rushing around like crazy trying to get things done. Then, after the Sabbath starts, you don't see any traffic on the streets. Stores and restaurants are closed, and the city is calm and resting. Then, once the sun sets again on the next day to end the Sabbath, there are parties and celebrations in the street, stores open back up, music pours out of windows, the whole town comes alive again. They still live out this ancient principle handed down to them by God. The reason I'm describing this at length is because, as you may have noticed, God brought it up again today. We can hardly get through any chunk of laws without him saying, don't forget, rest. Hey, remember, 1 day a week, stop working. And it's not just a day about doing nothing. It's a day about reconnecting with him. We see evidence of that in our reading today when he commands twice the sacrifices on the Sabbath as on any other day of the week. Sacrificing isn't considered regular work. It's considered worship. All these sacrifices may have seemed extravagant. After all, they're killing their food and their source of labor and clothes in mass quantities. But by requiring sacrifices, God was reinforcing that he has a plan for continual provision. He provides all that he requires of us. Even though we no longer offer sacrifices, we still need to be reminded of this and trust that he's providing for us. 2 of the things in our lives that can still serve this purpose are giving to the church and Sabbath. And here's an interesting thought. We each have 168 hours in our week. If you sleep 7 to 8 hours a night on average, that means you're awake for 16 to 17 hours each day. So by taking one of those 16 to 17 hour days and setting it aside for rest each week, you're giving back 10% of your time. By giving back a portion of our time and money, we demonstrate our trust in the God who provides for and sustains us. Then we hit a potentially confusing or frustrating section for some of you, regardless of gender. Let me set up chapter 30 for us. Sometimes, when people were in dire straits, they would make a vow to God. These vows often involved sacrificing something of financial value. Think of something along these lines. God, if you'll just give me a child, I will sell everything we own and give the money to the sanctuary, I swear. Or, God, if you'll help me win the lottery, I promise I'll give half the money to my church. When men made vows like this before God, there were no outs for them. No get-out-of-jail-free cards. And if you're a man, that might frustrate you. Because if a woman made the vow, the man in her life could let her off the hook for it, if he renounced it. A woman might feel a little bit disrespected when that happened, But ultimately, this was a protective measure for the woman, letting her off the hook for something she might not have been able to pay, but just offered up in a moment of desperation. When someone makes a vow to the Lord and has to break it or cancel it, there's always sin involved. Verses 5, 8, 12, and 20 deal with the forgiveness and iniquity related to this. And I want to point out, the text doesn't say, women can't make vows because God doesn't take women seriously. Silly women. Women did make vows, and they were meaningful and important. The heart behind this law is to help and protect, not restrict. This option also served to protect the man of her household, who would also suffer financially if she fulfilled her vow. Even though these laws aren't still in effect for us today, many of us still have people in our lives who serve these kind of vow-canceling roles for us. Or at least we should. The kind of person who says, "Are you sure you want to go out with that guy?" Or, "Listen, I know you want to spend all our tax refund on tickets to Cabo, but maybe we should pay off the car first." It's important to have people in our lives who see our blind spots and
Cabo.
speak into them, who can catch us before we make a foolish decision. What was your God shot today? I loved seeing him repeat yet again his command to honor the Sabbath. Of all the things people think about God and his so-called do's and don'ts, very few people ever treat it like he's handing out more than a big long to-do list. People miss the mark on his heart. Of all the 10 commandments, there are 2 things he keeps repeating over and over again. You shall have no other gods before me, and rest. What other God commands rest? Most of our idols demand more of us, more striving, more trying, more doing. He says, nope, not my people. The people of false gods run themselves ragged, but my people are provided for even when they take a day off to spend with me. He's where the rest is, and he's where the joy is.
So the reference of Hannah, I looked that up, and we will read about Hannah in Samuel. So that's where that's coming up. I thought I might tell you that, in case you're wondering about Hannah.
All right.
Well, today was a lot of instruction. You know? Lots of instruction. So it looks like we're coming into vengeance on the Midianites. So we're about to get into a little fist fight, I think. All right.
All right, guys. Thank y'all for joining us today. What is today? Wednesday?
Wednesday.
All right. Hope to see y'all tomorrow. Pray.
I was waiting to see if you'd forget.
Lord Father, thank you for this day. Lord, thank you for the sunshine that you've blessed us with. Lord, we ask you. We just also give thanks for being able to take time in our day to devote to you and read your word. Lord, thank you for just giving us that opportunity. Father, we ask that you just keep our hearts open to your word, Lord. And we ask that you open anybody's hearts that may watch us on the YouTubes. Lord, we ask that you bless us as we go through this day. Forgive us where we fail you. And these prayers we ask in your Son Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, guys. Y'all have a wonderful Wednesday.
See you
Thursday,
tomorrow.
or whatever it may be for you.
I think it's one, yeah.
The Philippines, it's Thursday.
It is.
All right, guys. I gotta get up and turn the camera off.
Because his clippers
Man.
broke. I think
Yep.
it's funny.
All right, bye, guys.